Good morning, students. Say your prayer. Thank you. நான் ஒரு நல்லாசிரியர். நான் உங்களுக்கு தாயாகவும் தந்தையாகவும் இருந்து முறையாக அன்போடு கல்வியை போதிப்பேன். நான் ஒரு நல்லாசிரியர். நான் உங்களுக்கு தாயாகவும் தந்தையாகவும் இருந்து முறையாக அன்போடு கல்வியை போதிப்பேன். நான் ஒரு நல்லாசிரியர். நான் உங்களுக்கு தாயாகவும் தந்தையாகவும் இருந்து முறையாக அன்போடு கல்வியை போதிப்பேன். Good morning, students. Take your social science book. Take page number 37. Today we will discuss about the Sangam Age. Okay, so in Sangam Age we will discuss about the period. So the Sangam Age period. So when was the Sangam Age exist? Okay, so what were the evidence? So the evidence already we have discussed. So various sources. So both literary and material sources we have discussed, and also the foreign sources discussed. Okay, in today's class we will discuss about the period of Sangam Age, then the Tini. So what do you mean by Tini? Then the 5 landscape in Tamil region. So we will discuss about this in today's class. Okay, recall what we have discussed in our previous class. So in our previous class we discussed about various non-Tamil sources, that is the foreign accounts about Tamil country. Okay, so we have discussed various foreign accounts that offer information about early Tamil society. So what are the non-Tamil sources that we have discussed? Arthashastra, then Mahavamsa, Periplus of Erythraean Sea, Pliny's Natural History, Ptolemy's Geography, Pythagorean Table, then Vienna Papyrus. Okay, so these are the foreign accounts, that is non-Tamil sources which provide information about early Tamil society. So first Arthashastra. So it belongs to Mauryan Empire. So it was written by Kautilya. Okay, then Mahavamsa, so Sri Lankan Buddhist Chronicle. Then Periplus of Erythraean Sea. So it is a Greek text. So it is a navigational guide used by the sailors. Then Pliny the Elder was a famous Roman person. So he was a Roman person who wrote the book Natural History. Okay, so it tells about the natural wealth of early Roman Empire. Then Ptolemy's Geography. It is a map only. It is like an atlas. So it provides information, so geographical details of the Roman Empire in the 2nd century AD. So some of the Tamilakam ports were mentioned in Ptolemy's Geography. So can you remember that? Kaveri Pumbettinam, Korkai, Kanyakumari, Musri are some of the places mentioned in Ptolemy's Geography. Then Pythagorean Table. It is nothing but an illustrated map. Then Vienna Papyrus. So it is nothing but a Greek document mentions Musri's trade of olden days. So it is a document. So that says about the trade contact. So trade connection between the Tamil traders and also the Roman Empire. Okay, so now the Vienna Papyrus. It is in Austrian National Library, Vienna. So it is now the papyrus. So the Vienna Papyrus is now attached to the Austrian National Library. So now it is in a library. So a museum attached to a library which is in Austria. Okay, so we have discussed the various non-Tamil sources in our previous class. Okay, so today we will move to the Sangam Age. The Sangam Age. So the Sangam Age is also called as early historic period. So Sangam Age in Tamil Nadu was also called as early historic period, and it is an important phase. So important period in the history of South India. Why? So the Sangam Age is called as the important phase in the history of South India. Why? Because this period is marked out from the prehistory. So prehistory means, so what is the difference between prehistory and history? Prehistory means there is no written evidence. So we analyze the things only by the tools used by the ancient men. So in prehistory there is no written evidence. but we excavate the tools and the things used by the early men and we arrange them in order. So arrange them in chronological order. Yeah. But in historical period, we have written evidence. Okay. So history means written evidence. History, we have written evidence. Yeah. So this period, so the Sangam Age period is marked out from the prehistory because of the availability of textual sources, namely Sangam literature and Tamil Brahmi inscription. Yeah. So why it is very important period means, so from this period onwards only we have written evidence. Yeah. So before that period is called as prehistory. So before the Sangam Age period was called as prehistory. Why means there is no written evidence. But now, so from the Sangam Age period we have written evidence. So what are the written evidence? Yeah, so we have written sources like Sangam literature. So already we discussed in our beginning of this lesson. Okay, wow. So Sangam literature. Then Tamil Brahmi inscriptions. Okay, so some of the inscriptions which was written in Tamil Brahmi script. Yeah. Then Sangam text is a vast corpus of literature. So corpus means collection of written or spoken text. So Sangam text is a vast corpus of literature that serves as an important source for the study of people and society of the relevant period. So Sangam text. So it provide. So it is a vast collection of written or spoken text, which provide information about the people and the society. So Sangam text provide us information, a lot of information about the people. So to serve as an important source for the study of the people and society of the relevant period, society of the same period. Okay, so the Sangam Age, which was also called as early historic period, is an important phase in the history of South India. Why means, so this period is marked out from prehistory. So this is different from prehistory because the availability of textual sources. So from this period onwards only we have written evidence. So before that we have no written evidence. So that's why it was called as prehistory. Then Sangam Age was called as historical period. Okay, so Sangam literature and Tamil Brahmi inscriptions. So this period only we have Sangam literature and Tamil Brahmi inscriptions. Sangam text is a vast corpus of literature that serves as an important source for the study of the people and society of the relevant period. So, chronology. So, to which period the Sangam Age belongs? Do you have any idea? Yeah, so there is a considerable debate among the scholars about the age and the chronology of the Sangam society. So there is a considerable debate. So debate means discuss or argue. So there is a lot of argue. So there is some argue among the scholars about the age and the chronology. So chronology means order in which a series of events happened. So there is a discussion. So there is an argument between the scholars about the period, about the age and the series of events happened in the Sangam society. Okay, so there is a considerable argue or discussion. So there is a discussion and argue among the scholars about the age of this Sangam society. The Sangam texts are generally dated to between 3rd century BC and 3rd century AD. So because of our latest technology in archaeological excavation, it was found that the Sangam text generally dated between 3rd century BC to 3rd century AD. Okay, so the Sangam texts are generally dated between 3rd century BC to 3rd century AD. So there are a lot of discussion. So there are a lot of argument between the scholars about the age of the Sangam text and also the Sangam society. So the Sangam text generally dated between 3rd century BC to 3rd century AD. So the references in Greco-Roman text. So Greece, then Roman text, then Tamil Brahmi inscriptions, and the references to the Chera, Chola, Pandya in the Ashokan inscription corroborate this date. So Ashoka, so famous Mauryan king. So in his inscription, he mentioned that to the south of his Mauryan Empire, 3 kingdoms existed. So 3 rulers existed. So they were Chera, Chola, Pandya. So in Ashoka inscription, the great king, the Mauryan great king Ashoka mentioned to the south of his empire, Mauryan Empire. So there are three rulers existed. So they were Cheras, Cholas, Pandyas. Okay, so the reference to the Cheras, Cholas, Pandyas in the Ashokan inscription corroborate this date. So corroborate means to provide evidence or information that supports a statement, theory, etc. Okay, so corroborate means so that provide information, so which support a statement, theory, etc. So it is generally agreed that the Sangam poems were composed in the early part of the historical period, but were compiled into anthologies in the later period. So it was commonly agreed. So what was commonly agreed? The Sangam poems were composed in the early part of historical period. So in the early historic period, but they were compiled into anthologies. So anthologies means, what do you mean by anthology? A collection of poems, stories, etc. that have been written by different people and published together in a book. So anthology means nothing but a collection of poems or stories so that have been written by different people. So the poems, stories may be written by different people, but they are published together in a book. Okay, so it was thought the Sangam poems were composed in early part of historical period, but they were compiled, they were collected and published together in a single name or in a single book in later period. Okay, so that's we have discussed already now that 19 male kanakku, 19 keel kanakku, then 5 epics. Okay, so they were considered as the Sangam poems. So they were written at one time. So they were written during the early part of historical period, but they were compiled in later period. Okay, so chronology. So there is a considerable debate, discussion among the scholars about the age and chronology of the Sangam society. So the Sangam texts are generally dated to between 3rd century BC to 3rd century AD. So the Sangam text, so commonly belong to date between, so period between 3rd century BC to 3rd century AD. So the written evidence, so the references in Greek or Roman text, Tamil Brahma inscription and the references to the Chera, Chola, Pandya in Asoka inscription corroborate this date. So these inscriptions, the text and references in Chera, Chola, Pandya in Asoka inscription, so corroborate the date, so 3rd century BC to 3rd century AD. Then it is generally agreed that the Sangam poems were composed in the early part of the historical period, but were compiled into anthologies in the later period. Then the Tini. So the concept of Tini is presented in the Tamil grammar work. So which is the ancient Tamil grammar work? Tolkappiyam. So the concept of Thinai is presented in the Tamil grammar work of Tolkappiyam, and this concept is essential to understand the classical Tamil poem. So if you want to understand, if you want to read the ancient, so classical Tamil poem means you have to know about the concept of Thinai. So what is meant by Thinai? Thinai is a poetic theme. So the means a subject of a talk. So on which, so the basis of a subject, so on which the subject talks. So the point or the main thing which the subject talk is a Thinai. So Thinai is a poetic theme which means a class or category and refers to a habitat or ecozone with specific physiographical characteristics. Okay, so Thinai is a poetic theme which means a class or category and refers to a habitat. So habitat means a living environment, so living place, or ecozone. So ecozone means it is also a habitat only, but it support living organisms. So it deals with the living nature also, with specific physiographical character. So apart from living creations, it supports some physiographical characters also. So Sangam poems are set in these specific ecozones and reveal that human life has deep relationship with nature. So Sangam poets are set in these specific ecozones. Okay, so these regions and reveal and says that human life, so the ancient Tamil people life has deep relationship with nature. Okay, so the concept of Thinai is presented in the Tamil grammar work of Tolkappiyam, and this concept is essential to understand the classical Tamil poems. Okay, so you have to know about Thinai. So because Thinai is a poetic theme which means a class or category and refers to a habitat or ecozone with specific physiographical characteristics. So Sangam poets are set in these specific ecozones and reveal that human life has deep relationship with nature. Yeah. So normally the theme of the poem are broadly defined as Agam and Puram. So Agam means interior, Puram means exterior. So Agathinai, it refers to the various situation of love and family life. Okay, Sagam, interior. It deals with, it is refers to various situation of love and family life. Okay, while Purathinai is concerned with all other aspects of life and deals particularly with war and heroism. Yeah. So commonly the theme, so the Thinai is divided into two. One is Agathinai and another one is Purathinai. So Agathinai deals with family life, yes, so love and family life, while Purathinai deals with war and heroism. Okay, so Agathinai deals with personal family life. So Purathinai, it deals with war and heroism. Okay, so Thinai, it is the basic concept. Yeah, so in the ancient Tamil literary works. So Sangam Age. So what is the period of Sangam Age? Yeah, 3rd century BC to 3rd century AD. Yeah. Then, so in which book the concept of Thinai is presented? Yeah, Tolkappiyam. Yeah, so what are the two themes of the poem? Yeah, Agathinai, then Purathinai. Then Ainthinai. So 5 Thinais are landscape. Yeah, so both Agathinai and Purathinai explains about human life. Yeah, so it deals with human life, so human nature. But the landscape, so the place where our Tamil people lived, yeah, so was divided into 5 types. Yeah, so into 5 Thinais. Yeah, so that is called as 5 Thinais. Yeah, so Ainthinai. Okay, or landscape. Yeah. So commonly the poem, so the theme of the poem, so according to human life, was divided as Agathinai and Purathinai, but based on the landscape, so but based on the environment. Okay, so but based on the ecozone, the land was divided into 5 Thinais. So that is called as Ainthinai. Okay, so Tamilagam was divided into 5 landscape. Each region had distinct characteristics. Yeah, so each region. So every Thinai. So there are 5 Thinais. No. So 5 landscape. No. Yeah, that each landscape have a distinct character. Yeah, so each landscape, each Thinai have a presiding deity. So deity means God. Okay, so each landscape had own God. Then they had a own occupation, people, culture life according to its specific environmental condition. Okay, so each region had a distinct characteristics, a presiding deity, occupation, people, and cultural life according to its specific environmental condition. So this classification has been interpreted by scholars to reflect real life situation in this landscape. Yeah, so this classification, so the 5 types of land has been interpreted by the scholars, so present day scholars, to reflect real life situation in this landscape. Yeah, so the land, yeah, so that decides the working condition, occupation, and other characteristic feature of the people of these areas. Okay, so what are the 5 landscape? Do you know? You have learned in your Tamil subject. Yeah, Kuranji, Mullai, Martham, Natal, and Pali. Yeah, so each landscape had its own deity, own god. Then occupation, then people. So they were called by different name. Yeah, so the people in different region were called by the different name. Then cultural life. Okay, so they were different. Okay, so what are the 5 Thinais? Let us see one by one. So Kuranji. So you can tell from this picture itself. So the Kuranji landscape belongs to, yeah, Kuranji refers to the hilly and mountainous region. Okay, so Kuranji refers to the hilly and mountainous region. Yeah, so in Tamil you will learn in detail. Okay, so Kuranji refers to the hilly and mountainous region. So you will learn about the deity, occupation, and the people and cultural life. Okay, so in Tamil. Yeah. So in our subject they didn't mention detailedly about that 5 landscape. Just mention, so what are the landscape? That's all. Okay, so Kuranji, it refers to the hilly and mountainous region. Then Mullai. So Mullai is forested and pastoral region. Yeah, so pastoral means, yeah, so the animals for grazing. Okay, so Mullai is forest and pastoral region. Okay, so Kuranji refers to the hilly region, hilly and mountainous region, while Mullai refers to the forest region. Okay, then third one, Martham. So Martham is the fertile riverine valley. Okay, so Martham refers to the fertile riverine valley. So fertile region. Yeah, so the fertile landscape in Tamil Nadu refers to the Martham region. Yes, so the fertile region of Tamil Nadu was called as Martham. Okay, so the hilly region and the mountainous region was called as Kuranji, while the forest and pastoral region was referred as Mullai. The Martham region, yeah, so the Martham region is the fertile region. Yes, so the fertile region of Tamil Nadu was referred as Martham. Yeah, so mostly it occupies the riverside. Yeah, so riverside only we have fertile soil now. Yeah, so Martham so deals with agriculture practice. So most common agriculture practice was common here. Yeah, so the people were agriculture in Martham land. If you take Kuranji, so the people mostly were hunters. Then Mullai, yeah, they were pastoralist. So the name itself indicate no, Mullai is forested and pastoral region, while Martham people they practice agriculture. Then fourth one, Natal. So it is the coastal region. Yeah, so the name itself indicates, so coastal region. Then the people of this region, yeah, mostly were fishermen. Yeah, so coastal region. So Kuranji refers to the hilly region, while Mullai refers to the forest region. Martham refers to the fertile region. Then Natal refers to the coastal region. Yeah, so these are the four important landscape existed in Tamil Nadu. Okay, then the fifth one, Pali. Yeah, so Pali, nothing but sandy desert region. Yeah, so Pali is sandy desert region. So Pali that exists, that does not exist in Tamil Nadu. But if the rainfall fail in Mullai region and Martham region, then there is a chance of the region becoming desert. Okay, so that's why it was called as Pali. Yeah, so there is less chance for the Pali. Yeah, so we didn't found any desert nowadays in Tamil Nadu. But if the rainfall fails means, so there is a chance of desert region. So there is a chance of the regions, so the Mullai and Martham becoming desert. Okay, so that's why in our Sangam literature they mention about the Pali land also. Okay, so there are 5 landscape: Kuranji, Mullai, Martham, Natal, Pali. So Pali is sandy desert region. So the 5 landscape, so what are they? Yeah, Kuranji, Mullai, Martham, Natal and Pali. So Kuranji refers to the, yeah, hilly and mountainous region. Mullai refers to the, yeah, forest and pastoral region. Then Martham, yeah, fertile riverine valley. Then Natal, it is a coastal region. So coastal region. Then Pali, yeah, sandy desert region. Okay, so today's class we discussed about the Sangam Age, the Tini. Yeah, so the 2 Tini, Ahatini, Puratini, then 5 landscape. Okay, so if you have any doubt, contact me. In tomorrow's class, we will discuss about the political power of Tamilagam. Yeah, so Sangam literature, so Sangam polity. So you know about the Chera, Chola, Pandyas, no? Yeah, so we discuss about them. Yeah, so it's just a general discussion only. Yeah, so their capital city, their symbol, yeah, then the books, so the ancient books that speaks about the Movenders. So we will discuss in tomorrow's class. Okay, so today's textbook reading. So take page number 38. Yeah, so read that heading, the Tini. So first 2 paragraph. So in the Tini heading, so read that first 2 paragraph. Then homework. So take page number 38. Yeah, in the Tini heading, so just see below. So the 5 landscape. So the 5 landscape are Kuranji, Mullai, Martham, Natal and Pali. Then write every landscape. So Kuranji refers to the hilly and mountainous region. Mullai, forest and pastoral region. Martham, fertile riverine valley. Natal, coastal region. Pali, sandy desert region. Yeah, so write this as your written homework. Okay, va? So textbook reading, just read the two paragraphs in the Tini. So first two paragraphs. Then for written homework, write these 5 landscape. Okay, va? If you have any doubt, contact me. Okay, students. Thank you. Have a nice day.